It's all eyes on the 10th Brics Summit underway in Sandton. For more on this, we cross to Arabile Gumede, who is at the summit. Good afternoon, Arabile. Speak to us about what's happened so far today, with a particular focus on the DTI minister and his comments on the US protectionism, as well as this trade war that's been brewing.
Well, yeah, very shortly, Nzinga, we actually only set to open up the Brics Summit in and of itself, right? But the salient issues have already come to the fore. A lot of people have already put out clearly what their mission and their targets are. Having spoken to the Minister of from the Department of Trade and Industry, that's Minister Rob Davies, it seems clear from his side and his point of view that he gets held up at night and really gets woken up at night, really, just regarding the trade situation, whether it be steel and aluminium imports, or even the AGOA agreement as well, where you see the South African vehicle and manufacturing plants struggling with regards to the United States. That Trump war, or Trump trade war, shall we call it as well, has certainly been a key factor in how he's conducted business, and really is looking to steamroll and go ahead with regards to issuing some sort of warning, or perhaps some sort of way to say to the United States that you cannot then use South Africa as collateral damage in and amongst other nations that you're using as well, to ensure that the trade situation in the United States goes from strength to strength. So it's a clear mission on his part, and he said that, you know, in terms of legalities, they may need to end up in court with the United States because of that AGOA agreement. But let's remember that, yes, we may have the poultry agreement on our side headed out to AGOA, but it wouldn't be beneficial for South Africa if we were to close off that AGOA agreement, which would be very, very beneficial for not only our steel and aluminium plants, but also wholesale with regards to manufacturing. It would go all the way into affecting jobs as well. So the Trade and Industry Minister quite clearly pointing out that he would like to resolve this as soon as possible, and hopes that the cooperation from the BRICS entities themselves will be able to help support South Africa's manufacturing infrastructure as well, in more ways than one, while they try to circumnavigate or go through this agreement with the trade war situation in the United States. So all that coming through from Minister Rob Davies as well.
Arabile, you're also speaking to Telecommunications Minister Dr. Siyabonga Cele a little bit earlier on. Take us through what he said, and if he focused much on the fourth industrial revolution, which is a big topic at BRICS as well.
Yeah, that's certainly the theme, right, of the entire summit, right? How to perhaps create a lot of collaboration and prosperity through the fourth industrial revolution, and that would probably be his biggest motivation and standpoint as well. The interesting element here is that he's really said that the digital economy in itself needs to be one that South Africa focuses on purely in building over the next few years. How exactly they get that done would require a lot of investment, and he's hoping that the summit in itself will mean that the cooperation and the collaboration between the BRICS nations brings about examples to which South Africa can heed itself to, and perhaps advance the digital economy a whole lot further. The advancement as well of creating jobs within the sector, despite mechanization, means that it's very important to upskill people as well, which means that he's in cooperation and engagement as well with the Department of Basic Education and Higher Education as well, to ensure that young people are skilled, and then bringing in the youth, which of course have a much higher unemployment rate as well in the country. So he spoke really varying across the board there, saying that there are all these aspects that need to be added to that digital economy that we're only seeing through one lens, and really seeing it as being a technological factor, whereas there are all these other elements to it at the same time. So perhaps what needs to be done here is a refocus or a recalibration with regards to what it is we really focus or zoom in on when we look at the digital economy, and is hoping that the partners here at BRICS in themselves will be able to communicate clearly what that message should be for the rest of South Africa, and how exactly we take that digital economy message a whole lot more forward. He is really buoyant about the BRICS Summit in itself, and he says that the end goal here must be better collaboration between the nations, and more examples within which the nations themselves can be able to boost the emerging market space through the digital space as well.
Now, Arabile, I know we've focused a lot on ministers who are there and the presidents who are going to be there as well. Talk to us about the business delegations that are there from the BRICS countries and what they're expecting to gain from the summit.
everybody from bank CEOs right through to corporates. Even the CEO of Naspers is also here, Bob van Dijk, and even the former CEO of Naspers as well, Koos Becker, also here. But business delegates are here, there and everywhere across the board here at the Brics Summit. Indeed, their interest will obviously be how much investment, how much hope, how much faith is being put in South Africa's economy, because their need is to then invest further in South Africa in order to aid the economy as well, in order to press on and push forward. The issue has become that business confidence in South Africa has obviously been weak for quite some time, trading, of course, back from a few years. But the issue is companies are now still sitting back on their money and having a wait-and-see approach. So the issues will become those of regulation. Do they believe that the partnerships with the BRIC nations will ensure that governments and local government in particular see a need to steamroll and move quickly with regards to aiding regulation in South Africa and making it a whole lot better, so that investment then becomes easier to attain and easier to then push forward? So the questions then will remain to everybody else. Does South Africa have the regulatory capacity to move ahead quickly enough to aid the investment sector? And I think that is exactly what the business CEOs themselves will be looking at, to ensure that everything moves forward faster for what is supposed to be a new dawn for South Africa.
Arabile Gumede coming to us live from the Brics Summit. He'll continue keeping us updated throughout the day, as well as a large part of the SABC's economic team, so do stay tuned for